Hey there, welcome back to The Empowered Edge, the podcast where we unlock your best self through optimal health, a resilient mindset, and lasting habits. I'm your host, Jenna Hostetler, and today we're diving into a topic that will make the difference between crushing every single goal you set or falling short and always feeling stuck. We're talking about value-driven goals, uncovering the source of why you set certain goals, and determining if that underlying motivation aligns with the values in your life. Because if it doesn't, game over. Have you ever set a goal that didn't truly excite you? Or maybe one that you find yourself avoiding or even dreading? This might sound familiar. You set a goal because it sounds like a good idea, or because everyone else is working on it, or because you think it's what you should be doing, only to find yourself losing motivation halfway through, falling off the wagon yet again, and wondering what is wrong with you that you can't finish what you start. Well, I have good news for you. It's not totally your fault. When your goals aren't rooted in what truly matters to you, they become just another thing on your to-do list, something you have to do rather than something you want to do. And if no one has taken the time to help you see what actually matters to you, then they can help you create the best goals in the world with the most incredible strategy. But your chances of success will not improve if way deep down it's not what you want. Today we're going to cut through the noise and get to the core of what really matters when setting any goal, big or small. We'll talk about why so many people struggle to set meaningful goals, the biggest mistakes people make when setting goals and how to avoid those mistakes, how to identify your true priorities so that you focus on the right things, the mindset shifts you need to stay committed to your goals, and a simple action plan that you can start today. If you've ever felt like you're spinning your wheels or setting goals that never seem to stick, this episode is for you. So let's dive in. Okay, the first thing we need to address is why so many people struggle with setting meaningful goals in the first place. Like if you've ever felt torn between what you want, what you think you should want, and what's actually realistic for your life right now, you're not alone. Answering the question, what do you want for your life, can be really hard to answer. And if you can't answer that, you cannot set meaningful goals, because we can't direct a GPS to an unknown destination. Now, here are just a few reasons why you might struggle to answer that question. Maybe you know what you want in a perfect world, but since life is far from perfect, you settle for what you think is realistic. Maybe you know exactly what you want, but you have no idea where to begin, and you don't even know anyone who's done what you want to do, so you feel like you're all alone with no direction, and there's no point in realistically thinking about that goal. Now, if this is you, check out episode 5, Stop Waiting, Start Living, to learn how to get started on your goals when you are the only one in your circle wanting to achieve something big. Maybe you've been working on the same goal for so long and you failed so many times that admitting you still want it is kind of embarrassing. So instead, you just act like you don't know what you want. Maybe you've been told your whole life what you want, what college you'll go to, what career you'll have, the type of person you'll marry, so the thought of having your own goals is hard to fathom. If you don't know what you want for your life, or if you can't admit what you want because it sounds a little crazy, how can you possibly create a goal that has enough meaning to be worth pursuing and that you have enough conviction behind to power through the hard times? The answer is you can't, and that is where this next step comes in. There's a quote by Jim Rohn that says, "If you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much." One of the biggest reasons people fail to make progress is because their goals are influenced by external expectations instead of their own values. Just like what we discussed before, if you don't really know what you want, then it's possible that you've set goals because of someone else. Now think about it. How often do we set goals based on what society, family, friends, TV, or social media tells us we should want? You see a new fitness challenge and suddenly you think you need to do it. Your coworker is following a new diet and you feel like you should try it too. But if you don't take the time to understand what you want and why you want it, those goals are just ways of keeping yourself busy, and they're probably great distractions from what you really want to do. Now, this is why we get stuck in a cycle of inconsistency, because when a goal doesn't actually matter to us, the hard parts feel impossible to push through. And instead of developing discipline, we end up relying on motivation, which, let's be real, has never been reliable and never will be, because just like a muscle, motivation wears out. And if that is the basis of our success plan, we're out of luck more days than not. So how do we start to set the right goals? The first step is getting clear on your core values. Do a values assessment and think about what truly matters to you. Things like health, relationships, financial independence, time freedom, time with God, personal growth, and rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Then ask yourself, which of my values does this goal support? Identifying the core value that is the foundation of your goal will exponentially increase your motivation to see it through. And I want you to think about it like this. Like the wise man who built his house upon a rock, your goal needs to be supported by a foundation of a core value. And the more difficult or the more long-term the goal is, the more important this is. Yes, a goal like, I'm going to drink 100 ounces of water a day, does take some discipline and some intention. But pretty much anyone can do that if they decide they want to. But a goal like losing 100 pounds or eliminating grains or changing your spending habits or starting a business, those are hard and they take time, and you may not see results for weeks or even months. So if a goal like that is decided on a whim, with no solid foundation or conviction, then you've built your house upon sand. And if you don't know how that ends, check out Matthew 7:26. Now, if you find out that your goal does not strongly support any of your highest ranked values, then why is it a goal in the first place? Next, you're going to trace the origin of your goal. When did this goal become important to you? Who or what influenced you to want it? If it was planted in your mind by someone else, it might not actually be your goal. I had a client a couple of years ago who was working with me on weight loss, and she was making progress, but she finally realized that she actually didn't care that much about losing weight. Hello, talk about relief. We can stop our coaching sessions and you can stop putting so much effort into something that you don't actually care about. Now, this problem is very real with how much our brains are being influenced by social media, the news, and the internet in general. If you've seen the movie Inception or if you've heard about Project Mockingbird, you know what I mean here. Now, it could take a while to figure out what your goal matters so much, but when you think about it, you'll either realize that it doesn't matter, it deeply matters, or it used to matter. Another reason why this evaluation is so important is because you can be working on a goal for years and it becomes such a part of your life that you don't even recognize that you don't want it anymore. And that's okay. We change, our goals change, and our values change as we get older, we start families, we gain life experience, and we learn what we don't want. So do these 3 exercises: values assessment, assigning a goal to a value, and discovering the goal's origin, to determine the motivation for your goal. And you will cut out the noise so you can focus only on the goals that support the life you want to create. Now we're going to shift and talk logistics. There are 4 key mistakes that keep people from making real progress. We're going to identify them and learn how to fix them. Mistake number 1 is setting outcome-based goals instead of action-based goals. This is common because we naturally tend to focus on the result we want instead of what's required to accomplish it. But instead of saying, I want to lose 20 pounds, set a goal based on the daily actions that will get you there, like I will eat real food and walk 5 times a week. Setting an outcome-based goal, like wanting your body to release weight, is like wanting someone to change. You can't just want them to show up differently in life. You have to show up differently, and eventually they will too. And if they don't, you still became a better person. You can't just want your body to release weight. You have to change your life to behaviors that will support weight loss, pivot if things don't work, and if you don't lose as much weight as you wanted, but you stuck with your action-based goals, you'll still be healthier and overall better for it. We can't always control the outcome, but we can always control our actions, and setting action-based goals is the best way to get the outcome you're looking for. Mistake number 2, not thinking through the logistics. Ask yourself, do I have the time, knowledge, and resources to follow through on this? If not, what do I need to adjust? Am I willing to figure out how to change my current way of operating through life to hit this goal? Or do I need to adjust the goal? If I choose to adjust the goal, what core value am I compromising, and am I okay with that? Now, these are awfully deep questions for setting a goal, and these are questions that most people skip right past. Mistake number 3, trying to do too much at once. We have to learn how to prioritize. Everything might feel important, but trying to tackle everything at once leads to burnout. And even if you can do it all, you won't do it well. Pick one focus area and commit to it. And if things obviously aren't working, make the necessary changes. And if you can't decide what to prioritize, go back to your core values. And mistake number 4 is pursuing goals that don't serve you. If a goal doesn't align with your core values, let it go. Stop wasting time on things that don't move you toward the life you actually want. If you want to set and achieve goals that matter to you, goals that are fulfilling, meaningful, and set you up for success, here are some essential mindset shifts to make. Number 1, give yourself permission to not want what the world wants. The world is loud about what you should want. You should want the perfect body, the 6-figure salary, the Pinterest perfect home, the latest health trend. But if you chase goals just because they're popular, you'll end up exhausted and wondering why you never feel content. Because deep down, they were never your goals in the first place. So here's your permission slip. You do not have to follow the crowd. In fact, the crowd is generally running in a direction that leads to burnout, debt, stress, and unhealthy habits. So the best thing you can do is step back and ask, is this actually what I want? What type of life will this create? You get to decide what success looks like for you. You get to define your version of a fulfilling life. And the sooner you stop chasing someone else's idea of success, the sooner you'll have clarity on what actually excites and drives you. Number 2, take full ownership of your life. A big reason people set the wrong goal is because they don't stop to question why they're pursuing them in the first place. Just like we talked about before, maybe it sounds impressive. Maybe someone else expects it from you. Maybe you think achieving it will give you validation. But if a goal doesn't support your priorities and your values, you have to be willing to say no. Stop setting goals just because they sound good on paper. You are not obligated to set goals that don't serve your long-term vision. You are not obligated to continue working towards something just because it's what you used to want. You don't need anyone's permission to pivot, refine, or completely walk away from a goal that no longer fits the life you're building. And taking full ownership means choosing goals that serve you, not ones that impress others. It means refusing to blame your circumstances or your past for where you are now, and it's acknowledging that you and only you are responsible for the trajectory of your life. And that's empowering, because if you're in control, that means you also have the power to change anything that's not working. And number 3, think long-term, but use short-term wins for motivation. Most people fail at their goals because they expect big results too soon. They want instant gratification, and when they don't see progress fast enough, they quit. The truth is, real success is not built overnight. It's built through small, consistent actions that add up over time. So instead of focusing on the massive, overwhelming end result, shift your attention to what you can do today. What is the next small step that will move you forward? Short-term wins like drinking water instead of soda, choosing a healthy meal, completing one workout, or spending 10 minutes learning a new skill. Those are what keep you moving. They build momentum, and momentum is what separates the people who succeed from the people who quit too soon. Big goals take time, but small wins keep you in the game. So celebrate progress, not just the finish line. If you're ready to uncover what goals will light you up, here's what to do. Write down your top 5 to 10 values and rank them by importance. And if you want some help with this, there is a free PDF in the description that will help you identify and rank your core values, then match them to your goals. Make a list of all your current goals and see which ones support your highest values. And then choose one goal to move forward with that supports your vision for your life. This exercise will give you instant clarity on what matters most so that you can start setting goals that feel meaningful and finally follow through on them. If you remember just one thing from today, let it be this. If you were stuck following through on a goal for the rest of your life, what goal would you shoot for? Most people never stop to ask themselves that question, but you're different. You're here because you want more. So take this opportunity to redefine what you're working toward and make sure it's leading you toward a life that you actually want to live. I hope you found this episode helpful. If you are ready to throw out all the energy-sucking goals that you've been working on and want to figure out what will make you excited to go to sleep so that you can wake up and get working, grab the PDF in the show notes, and after you've gone through it, email me back and let me know what your fired up goal is. Until next time, take action, stay empowered, and I'll see you soon.